Hi, and welcome back once again. This is still Luvcoding.com. You can still join us on our YouTube channel, Luvcoding, or the Facebook page, Luvcoding. We're still working on our Python tutorial, working on Python 3.6, on the Spider editor, and IPython console. Today, we'll be talking about modules and packages in Python. You can watch our videos on a string, list, tuple, dictionaries, and functions. Today we're talking about packages in Python, packages or modules. Now I've added a brief description here. In Python, a module allows you to logically organize your codes. Modules are Python objects with arbitrarily named attributes that you can bind and reference. Modules define functions, classes, and variables. So simply, a module could be a function, it could be a class, it could also be a variable, but defined to perform a specific purpose. It must be runnable code, of course. It must be a code that can run whenever you call it. So for instance, we have a simple example here. This is just a function. We just discussed function in our last video. So I will advise you look up for our video. If you're on our YouTube channel, all the videos are uploaded. If you're on our Facebook page, you can also get the videos or the link to our website. If you're on our website, the videos are already there. So you can watch our video on functions. It will help you to understand more. So having a simple function like this, we will save this on a separate file, then we can run it as a module. So I created a very simple function from the function we discussed the last time. So I can increase this window. Yeah. So I created a very simple function called square, and I saved it as a .py file. So it's a .py file. So just define a function. We're talking about modules and packages in Python. Basically, modules and packages are functions, like I've described here. They could be functions or classes. So if you have a class, like an object that you have already defined, you can call it up, you can import it, you can call it like a function, or sorry, like a module or like a package in another program. So the same with functions. When you define a function somewhere and it's saved, you can call it up in another program. So I use this as an example, the square that we defined in the last video. If you have seen our last video on function, please you can watch that video. If you're on our YouTube channel, the video is already there. Just look for Python functions explained Luvcoding. Or if you're on our website, maybe you have to scroll up or down. You can get the video. If you're on the Python tutorial page, you can scroll up. If you're watching a module, the video on module now, you can scroll up to see the video on functions. So this is a simple function we have defined, and we saved it as a .py file. Then we can use it as a package in another program. If you don't want to make it a function, you can also create a class. The normal class in programming, you develop a class here as an object, you save it, and then you call it up anytime as a package or a module. So this is a simple example here. So if we create this function like we discussed before, all we need to do, make sure this is the only function on the window, and we save it as a .py file, and then that will be our module that we'll call in our next program. But if you have more than one function, then you can group them up into a class. You can convert it to a class object. If you have more than one like this, you convert it to a class object, save it as a .py file, call it up whenever you want to call it as a module or a package. Now, there are few things you need to know about packages in Python. Number one, the import statement. For you to use a function as a module, you should be able to import the function using the import statement. And the import statement has the following syntax: import model 1, model 2, up to any amount of model you want to import. So we'll take a very simple example. We have explained this example in our video on lists. So if you have seen our video on list, I would advise you go see all our video from string, list, dictionary. We are taking each topic one at a time so that we can explain it as possible. So if you can look for the video on list on our website, you can find it above. If you're watching the model video right now, you can go up, scroll up to see the or click the button to take you up to the list video. Or if you're on the YouTube channel, check Python list Luvcoding, and you get up to our list video. So this is an example of how you can import a package, but this is not a package I defined. We're still going to come to my own package. I just use a simple example of an existing package that is pre-installed with Python. So this package is called the re. The re is just a regular expression. It's used for several things, but what we're going to be using it for here is to partition a string. So what I'm trying to say is, to use a package or to use a function as a package or as a model in Python, all you need to do is to create the function, save it as a .py file, and then call it up with the import statement. So we are using the re, for example, here as a model or a package. We'll now define a string here called any string, hello, how are you? So when you use this import, it doesn't matter what the package does or what the model does. What matters is, the most important thing is that you know how to bring in a particular package or model you are going to use just by using the import statement. So let's just explain this. Any string, this is any string. The first statement says any string, print any string dot split. Remember, we discussed split in our string video. Split basically divides this statement based on space. So here we're going to have hello dash dash comma as one string with the quote on top of it. We have how semicolon with the quote on top of it. We have a with the quote on top of it, and we have this. So let's just run it. We don't need the re for now. Any string does split quickly, takes time. Okay, so it has split any string. We have hello in quote, how in quote, are in quote, and you in quote. And now what happened was, when you use a split method as we described in list and string, what the split method will do is to separate your string into different items based on the spaces between them. So there are 1, 2, 3 spaces. That means we have 4 different strings, as you have seen here. Then you wonder, where is the /n? If you watch our video in string, it will tell you where the /n has gone. In Python, if you don't have a raw string operator attached to your string, then it will say the slash as an escape symbol to escape to something or somewhere. In this case, it's going to escape to a new line. But if you see /t, it's going to escape to a tab space. Or if you see / it's going to escape to a path to a file. So if you want to see this /n included in your output, you include an R at the end here as a raw string operator. We have talked about all those in our former video. So I would advise, if you can watch our video from the beginning, it will be really helpful. So let's put the R and see. It's not supposed to be part of our discussion. So you can see that the /n is now here. But that's not part of our discussion today. So print any string dot split 0, split it by 0 only once. So you're going to be splitting this string by 0 just once. So let's move the R now. This is not part of our discussion, but let's just see it. You're going to split the separate the string into different strings based on 0. So, and it's going to do that once. So the first O is here. So it's going to split it from here. There will be a comma here with hell in quote, and from here downward will be another string. So they're going to be just two strings eventually. So let's run this line before we can see the re package, although this doesn't really add up, but just to see. So it splits by 0, O, and just ones, because there are other O's in the string, but just one, because the command says only the first O. So it splits at the first O, and then hell became a string, and the other part of the string became another string. Now let's see how this one is going to split by space twice. So it's going to split here and here. But let's just come to what we're talking about today, the package or the model. So we imported a model called re, the regular expression, which is going to help us now to split this based on not just empty space, not just O, not this space, but on any amount of characters that I want to remove or separate from the string. So here, using the re package or the re model that we imported, we're going to be splitting now by the dash, the semicolon, the slash n. So there will be a comma here, there will be a comma here, and slash n, there will be a comma here. So we're going to split by 4 different items. So that is, at the end of the day, these items are not going to be appearing anymore because we're going to be splitting based on them. So let's run this with a model. We're actually talking about model. We're not supposed to be talking about all this. Oh, sorry, we didn't run the re. Let's just run everything just to get the re. So see the final output. All the characters are gone because we have split them, the string, based on each of the characters. So the re model that we imported has helped us to do that. So now let's look at our own model, importing our own model. Sorry, that was an alarm. So let's look at our own model. So here we create a string, a function. So listen carefully now. This is our function here. We created a function, not a class. So it's a function. So it has to be just one function in the whole of the document, and then saved. If there are more than one function, then you should be able to group them up in a class, or you save them as a different name, not the same name, and then call each of them. So it's possible you have more than one, maybe 2 or 3 functions, save it to the different name, not the name of the functions now, and then call the name that you use to save them as a model. Then you can say from that name, import any of the functions you want to import. We'll talk about that later. But for now, let's look at this model, square. So we have saved square as a new square here, .py. And we're going to be importing it as a model. Import new square. You must make sure the names are the same. You must make sure the names are the same, or it's not going to work. So import new square. Now, after importing new square, what do you want to do with new square? So new square, remember I said you can have as much as 5 functions in that file. And then when you import the file, you just use a dot statement or use a from, and we'll come to from. But here we're going to be using a dot statement to get the exact function we're looking for. So assuming there are 4, 5, or 6 functions, we just select one of the functions called the square. So with this, we can have about 10 functions in this file, new square. So if we have 10 functions here, we have imported new square, import new square. What do you want to do with new square? From new square, we want to print square, the functions. We want to call the function square. So we said print new square dot square. That means which of the functions in new square are you going to call square? If you have more than one function, you must not save the name of the file as the same name of any of the functions. So we can run this so that you can see what it does. It's going to just do exactly what this function will do. So we just called it to do the same thing. So model name, no model named new square. Okay, let's check. We have to check the folder to make sure that the whole of this are in the same folder. So let's go here. We have to get the folder where everything is. That should be no. I'm trying to remember the name of the folder. Although I can look for it, but I just want to just go straight. I can use the directory finder to find it. It should be here. Not, it should be here. It should be this folder, yeah. We can also use, when we talk about, I don't want to use it now till we go to talk about files. When we talk about file, we can see how to call the folder that we are in. Then we can copy and paste, or they can change directory to the folder that we're in. We're going to discuss that in our next class, so I don't want to use that now, so that you see how it is done. We can go directly from the editor to get the folder that we're using by just using change directory, or calling up the directory, or checking the name of or the path of the directory that we're in. So now we can run this because they're all in the same directory. So you can see, because I have changed the path of the file, now both of these packages must be. That's another thing you need to know. For you to call a package in another program, the both package must be in the same folder so that they can relate to each other. Both of the package must be in the same folder. So I'm importing new square, and new square is a file, and this model.py models is also a file in the same folder. So they must be in the same folder for you to be able to call. So you see, when I change the name of the folder here, the directory, the path here, when I change the directory here, the path here to the file, it's now able to link up to the folder that has this file that we want to access. So the file is running now. The function is running now. It says enter number, and any number can do. Enter second number. It gives you the square of the both numbers. So what does the square actually do? Square just takes two numbers and multiply them. That's what the function does, not by the name, but what the function does. The description of the function is take first number, second number, and multiply them. So you see how we're able to use the import statement, import a file called new square. In the new square, we're actually looking for a function called square. We can also use the from statement. If, like in this case, we don't want to use the dots. The dot command, we can also use the from. So we say from a file called anything, import a particular function. So we can use that for this square function here. So for instance, from hmodels, import printfunc as pf. Actually, hmodel is the we're working on hmodel. Yeah. So let's run. I don't know if it will run directly from this. I've not tried to see. Let me see whether it's going to run directly from the same folder. Actually, it's working. No, I don't think it's working, because PF only prints a value to the screen, so it's not working properly. Let's enter a number. See, no, it's not working. So we have to. It's now giving us all the packages in that all the functions in that package that we imported. So actually we're supposed to create the function in another file and save it, then call it from another file, but because we have the function here, that's why we can't call it. So we're going to use my own example, the example of from which model import print from. This is just a test. Okay, this is just a test. Okay, let's let me see. Okay, let's use the function we have defined. I think it's better. I was doing it because I was doing a different name, except I saved this as a different name, then it can work. Okay, we can do that just to show us. Before I use my own, I can save it as hmodel1. So that's the name of in the same folder. So this is now hmodel1. So this will run properly now. So yeah, this will run properly now. So we can run this. Now. So see, it's running properly now. Hello, this is just a test. So that is what the function does. The function printfunc is no more here. We're now in another model another program, sorry. This is the hello anything. So anything is whatever you entered. So you're going to print hello anything you entered. That is what this function does. So because I've changed the name of this file to hmodels1, it means that this print func is coming from another file called hmodel, and then we'll call it in this. It's better we're looking at it and seeing all the errors so that you know when you're working on your own code, you will know what is going wrong. So now you understand that because the hmodel, we are working on hmodel file, we couldn't call a function that is in hmodel because say from hmodel, which means hmodel should be another file. So I saved this file with another name, hmodel1. So hmodel1 can now call the hmodel, and in the hmodel there is a function called printfunc. So from hmodel, and we are now in hmodel1. So from hmodel, import printfunc as pf. You can call it any name. You can, if you don't want to use, you can leave it as printfunc, but better just to make it shorter. So import it as pf is correct. Then pf, this is just a test. So anything you enter here will be printed with the function printfunc. So you remember when we talk about functions, we talked about arguments. The printfunc argument requires the printfunc function requires an argument in it before it can work. So this is the argument you have put in, and then it will now do what is supposed to. What is it supposed to do? What is the function actually supposed to do at the beginning? It's supposed to print hello whatever we enter. Remember, when we call the function, we must enter a string or anything, and then what would the function do? Print hello anything we enter. When you call the printfunc function, you must enter something here, and then after entering something here, this function will just print hello plus whatever you entered. So that is why when I call the function here as pf, and now say pf, that is printfunc this string. What will it do? Printfunc will just print hello plus the string. I hope you remember when we talked about it in the function. Please don't forget, if you don't understand anything, do not worry so much. Just drop your questions or any argument at all on our chat box if you're on the website luvcoding.com. If you're on the YouTube channel, drop your comments or your contributions or questions on the comment box. And if you're watching from the Facebook page, please don't hesitate to drop your questions. So that is how it works. So this is another example from hmodel import printfunc. Okay, we have done that. This is just a test. Why am I repeating it? We have done that and I'm repeating it. Okay, so let me use our own example. Let's use this example because the new square is another file. It's going to work properly. So we can say from new square. Show you how the from. I hope you're following carefully. From new square, import square. So now we're going to import square. Import square. So when you're importing square, you don't need the dot command anymore. So all you need to do is to put square of anything you want to do. So print square. Let's put paste it so that it will be exact. So we'll just print square. The square requires does it require okay, does it require any argument? No. So no arguments required. So just print the square. I hope you understand what you're doing. From, if you're going to use this from, you just call the name of the function. You don't need the dots anymore. I would have done it somewhere else and leave the one with the dots. Okay, let me just undo it. Undo. Yeah. So let's do the one with the dots in a separate statement so that it doesn't cause confusion. So go down here and call the one. Yeah, so Ctrl V to say from new square is the name of the file. Import square. We're going to import square directly now, so we don't have to be using the dots command. We just call it directly. We don't need the bracket. Square. So we now print square. We're just going to be printing square because there is no argument with square. So if you print square, it's going to run what is meant to. So enter a number. So square is running now. Enter a number. Don't put a tab. If you press the space bar, it's going to give you an error message because we did not format this. We didn't in the function. There was no format to give it some space like this. Maybe like this. Then put like a slash. Put slash. Where is slash? Can't find my slash. For instance, okay, say slash, so put slash t, this would have given it a tab. But because this was not included, if you go to add space by yourself by clicking the space bar, it's going to give you an error message. So leave it the way it is, and then go to the next one, enter second number, no space, leave it like that, then it will give you the square. So we have seen how to call a model and how to use the from syntax and the import statement to call a model. Okay, so the there function is another kind of model. You can, this is another predefined kind of model, the there function. That was what happened here. I don't know, it's like I mistakenly clicked this and it was running here. So I didn't want to explain it until we get to it. So the there built-in function returns a sorted list of string containing the name defined. So whenever you run this function, remember models are functions defined in a separate file. You call them with the import statement or with the from statement. You either say import the model, the name of the file is the model, or you say from that model, the name of the file, import a particular function. Remember, models are also functions or classes or variables. So here we say import math. Math is a model, so it's a function that has been defined somewhere. So when you say content equals direct dir math, it means you want to see all the content, all the functions in math, in the math function. You want to see all the sub functions in the math function. So there are several little functions in the math. The math is a class. In this case, the math is a class containing all these functions. These are all different functions in math is a class. So when you call dir direct, you're trying to get directory of math. So you print all the content, content in the math directory. So it's another way of calling a package. It imports the name of the file, it's math, as a package, is a model, and then you want to see all the sub models or the functions in the model you have called. Just like if we have about 3 functions here, I can do this. Okay, we can also do it with that. So let's run this, then we'll run. I'll just run this, then I'll give you a simple example with our. So these are all the functions or the models in the math model, sub models or sub functions in the math model. So inside the math is a file of its own. It's like a .py file created. Inside the math is a class. Is an object of its own. It's a package of its own. Inside it, there are so many functions. So these are all the functions in the math class or in the math package, in the math model, in the math file. A math is a function that has been defined or a class that has been defined. It has been defined with so many functions in it. So when you call the math and then you say content equals directory or dir of math, you want to call everything in that math model. So let's do that with our own model, the new square. So we can say import new square. We just do exactly the same thing. Talking about models in Python. Where is new square? Just want to copy the name. You have to be exactly the same or you might have problem. Import new square. So do that below, go down. So import our file, new square. Look at the new square here, our file, separate file from where we're working. Then let our own content be the directory of, let's just do the same thing here. So just change the name to our own. So we're looking for directory of new square. So let me copy new square here to avoid any mistake. Say paste here. So let's run. We're just gonna get just one because they're just one square. All these are preloaded. These are already predefined packages and functions that makes a model what it is. This must be included. So already they are predefined apart from the square. The square is the only thing we created. The square is the only function we created. So for every time you call a directory of a model, you must see all this, because these are all the predefined functions or models that this model or function needs to work properly. So like it needs the file, it has to be in a file. You are creating this as a file. It has a name, there's a loader that loads it, there's a package, these are all built-ins. So you are going to see just our function, which is a square. So we imported our file. The new square is the name of the file. And then we use the variable content to display all the functions in new square. So right now we have only one function. If we create more function there, let's do something here so that you see. Let's add one more function so that you see how it works. Let's add this function. You see how it works? So now we have two functions here. So let's see how it works now. We have to save this. So now that I've saved it, so let's see how it runs, how it works. By calling the same directory again, the directory of new square. Let's call this new square directory again. Is it here? No. That should be at the end. Yes. Let's call this directory again. Run it again. So now we have square and print func missing. New square. Let's save this. New square.py is saved. So why is not getting the second function? It should, oh, sorry, it's not. I've not run this. We have to run it. I'll just run it as a file. Run here. Yeah, we need to run it. So now we have run it. So after running it, we save it. It's already saved. Okay, save as the same name, the same folder. Yeah. So we'll do it again here. So we'll run it now. Still the same. I don't know why it's not getting the second name. New square. You should be able to get the second print func. Okay, well, we're going to stop here for today. We're going to continue in our next video. Please, if you have any question, don't forget to drop your questions, your comments, contributions. You can join us on our YouTube channel, Luvcoding, or on our Facebook page, Luvcoding. And if you're a registered member on our site, you can always send us an email with your questions, and we'll give you our feedback as soon as possible. Thank you, and I hope you have enjoyed our video today. We're still looking forward for you to join us in our next episode. Thank you.